We have more now on that breaking news that my colleague Jen Psaki broke last hour. House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan has issued a criminal referral of former special prosecutor Jack Smith, accusing Smith of lying to Congress. In the referral letter obtained by MS Now, Jordan claims that Jack Smith misled Congress about how, quote, during the special counsel investigation, investigators unconstitutionally subpoenaed phone records for over a dozen Republican members of Congress and obtained gag orders to prevent the members from knowing that in May 2022, investigators in the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia began seeking subpoenas for members' phone records because these members spoke with certain executive branch officials. Of course, those records of communications between Republican members of Congress and the Trump White House were part of the federal investigation into the violent attack on the Capitol and Donald Trump's attempt to overthrow the results of the 2020 election. Tonight, a representative for Jack Smith responded. The House Judiciary Committee's referral to the Department of Justice of our client, Jack Smith, is based on a spurious claim that Mr. Smith provided false testimony during his 8-hour deposition before the House Judiciary Committee. The referral is made not because Mr. Smith made a false statement, which the letter concedes, but because he did not proactively disclose information that was not responsive to a question asked. During his testimony, Mr. Smith provided truthful, responsive answers and candidly discussed his work as special counsel. This referral reflects a chilling eagerness to weaponize the justice system by attacking a career, nonpartisan public servant who faithfully and fearlessly performed his duties by following the facts and the law. Jim Jordan's Democratic counterpart on the committee, Congressman Jamie Raskin, was a little less measured in his response tonight, saying, quote, this referral, if ever brought before a judge, will get laughed out of court. But success on the merits is not the goal. It is meant to harass Jack Smith. It is meant to please their Fox News viewership. It is meant to whitewash their own participation in a scheme to overthrow our elections. And above all, it is meant to create a distraction so Republicans on Senate Judiciary can feel just a little more comfortable confirming the architect of the Epstein cover-up and lawless Trump slush fund and super pardon, Todd Blanche, to the post of Attorney General. We will not fall for this ludicrous distraction, neither will the American people, unquote. Joining us now to discuss is Congressman James Walkinshaw, Democrat of Virginia. He is a member of the House Oversight Committee. So, Congressman, your colleague Jamie Raskin says that this referral would be, quote, laughed out of court. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I think absolutely. Look, Jack Smith was asked if he obtained text messages via toll records, and the answer was no. What Jim Jordan didn't know and should have known is that a lot of those text messages exist in the National Archive as part of the presidential record, and Jack Smith was able to get access to some of them that way. Jim Jordan didn't ask that question. Shoddy work by him in the deposition. But this referral is a joke. And just like many of the other politicized prosecutions that Todd Blanche has taken into courtrooms, it's going to get thrown out.
If Democrats win control of the House, do you think that your committee should investigate Congressman Jordan's actions here as an abuse of power?
Well, look, Jim Jordan and other congressional Republicans were part of Donald Trump's scheme to overturn the results of a free and fair election in 2020. Jim Jordan is also one of those Republicans who defied a congressional subpoena to answer questions about his role in January 6th and his role in an effort to overturn the election. So there needs to be accountability for all of that. Folks involved in that need to answer questions about their role in their efforts to overturn a free and fair election.
Well, so to clarify, does that mean that you think that if Democrats retake the House, it is appropriate to launch an investigation of your colleague Jim Jordan for potentially abusing his power? What is accountability?
I think we're going to, yeah, look, I think we will have to investigate the weaponization of the Justice Department under this Trump administration. And to the extent that members of Congress are aiding and abetting that weaponization, the effort to harass a career public servant like Jack Smith, efforts to harass other nonpartisan, non-political public servants who did their job to try to find justice around January 6th and other illegal actions by Donald Trump and his administration, all of that will need to be investigated.
You talk about the retribution here from potentially the DOJ and or your colleagues on the other side of the aisle in Congress. Do you think it will give pause to future civil servants considering taking up important but divisive independent roles like this or other important roles in law enforcement? I'm thinking about the efforts to persecute/prosecute people like James Comey. What do you think the net effect is on incentives to serve your country, given that this kind of fate may be awaiting you?
It's such an important question. You know, I represent 50,000 dedicated federal employees in my district in Virginia, folks who put the Constitution and their service to the American people ahead of loyalty to any politician, whether it's Donald Trump or anyone else. They take their patriotism very, very seriously. Clearly, there's an effort to intimidate folks like that. They've been fired, they've been pushed out, they've been harassed, they've been referred for prosecution. But I have deep and abiding faith in the patriotism of the American people and the dedicated public servants who serve across the government in non-political roles. And I'm confident that despite this effort to intimidate them, they're going to continue to do their jobs now and into the future.
Congressman James Walkinshaw, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.